So welcome my dear friends. Today our CPGET free online coaching eminent resource person Dr.P.Manjula Madam Garu, Assistant Professor, Department of Botany, Rbvrr Women's College, Autonomous Hyderabad. Madam is going to explain about the ecology biodiversity. Especially today, Madam is going to explain about the succession, plant succession, ecological succession. So, Madam, please welcome. Share your screen and start your session.
Thank you, sir. Sir, is it a visible screen?
Yes, Madam. Yes.
Thank you, sir, for giving this opportunity. So, good evening, my dear students. So, today's topic is ecological succession or plant succession. So, plant succession or ecological succession. So, it is a orderly process. So, here. So, it is a orderly process from in a single area, in a unit area. So, how the changes in this place will take place. So here from it is a bare area. So from the bare area again after some days, so here different. So if the ecological succession, it starts with the bare area and it reaches the climax community, that is with the forest or trees. So it is called as a ecological succession. So it is a orderly process from a bare area to reach a final climax community. So the plant succession, it is a orderly process, so in which different forms of plant communities which occupy a particular area before the development of the climax community. So it starts with a bare area. In that area, so no living organisms are present. So the climax vegetation, it is a stable under a particular set of environmental conditions. So before attainment of the climax stage. So the same area which is occupied by the different plant communities, it is called as a ecological succession or plant succession. So from here ecological succession which starts with a bare area. So bare area means here there is no living organisms are present. Here in this place, so due to migration or due to wind, so the seeds or spores will fall on this place and start germination, and same area which is occupied by different plant communities, and at last final community is reached. So it is called as a ecological succession. So ecological succession means it is a orderly process of forming a climax community by different forms of plant communities, which is replaced by at last final climax community is reached. So the climax vegetation is a stable under a particular set of environmental conditions. So these intermediate stages which constitute the serial stage and whole sequence of these communities, they are called as the seed. So these stages, they are called as the seed. Each stage, these are called as seed. So the succession which begins in an aquatic environment, it is known as a hydrarch, and the various stages of these succession are called as hydrozoere. So if the succession which starts on a water body, which in an aquatic environment are water bodies, it is called as a hydrarch, and the serial stages, they are called as a hydrozoere. So the hydrozoere can be studied in a pond or a lake. So if the succession which starts on a water bodies, it is called as a hydrarch. So next, so hydrarch succession, or it is also known as a hydrarch succession, that is it starts on a water bodies, and it is also known as the hydrozoere. These stages, they are called as the hydrozoere. So it is originate in water body, and mainly we can study in a pond, and phytoplanktons will be the primary community, and forest will be the climax community, and which includes several stages. So this is also important for competitive exams. So generally they ask like that. So from order of hydroxide. So first it starts with the starting stage, that is the phytoplankton stage. Second, it is followed by the rooted submerged stage, and it is followed by rooted floating stage. And next stage is reed swamp stage, and next one is sedge meadow stage, and sixth stage is woodland stage, and final stage or climax stage is always forest stage in hydrarch or in xerarch. So the final stage is the forest stage, but in hydrarch succession, the first primary stage, pioneer stage, is the phytoplankton stage. So phytoplankton stage, first stage is the phytoplankton stage. So there will be these are the pioneer community. So they are called as the pioneer community. The starting community is the phytoplankton. So generally the phytoplanktons like blue green algae, diatoms, and bacteria. So these are the main, they form the main community in this area. So here it is a lake. Here there is no living organism first, but these blue green algae, they start germination. So due to this migration or due to wind, so the spores or seeds will germinate, fall on this place, and they start germinate. So blue green algae, diatoms, and bacteria, so they form the pioneer community. So they multiply and grow for some time and fix light energy. So because they contain photosynthesis, this chloroplast, and they can synthesize the food materials and fix light energy and add nutrients to the soil and water. So next it is followed by, so after few days, what happens? So these phytoplankton stage is replaced by second stage, that is rooted submerged stage. So here the nutrients, as the first pioneer community, they start germination and they grow and they can synthesize food materials. So due to, after some time, the death and decay of these organisms will take place, and these debris, they fall on the water, due to which what happens? So here slowly formation of soil will takes place. So nutrients are added to the soil by the death and decomposition of phytoplanktons, and here the soft muddy bottom will be formed. So bottom which is rich with silt. So water depth also becomes shallow. First, when we compare to first stage, so as growth of these phytoplankton starts, so here the formation of soil will takes place and the depth of the water will be decreases. So light penetration becomes easier. This promotes growth of the rooted hydrophytes. So now this place is not suitable for the phytoplanktons, and it is replaced by other plants, other communities like rooted hydrophytes. So examples for this rooted submerged stage is Hydrilla, Vallisneria, and Utricularia. So next, second stage is the rooted submerged stage. So next it is replaced by third stage, that is rooted floating stage, in a single place only, single area, in the pond only. Here it is modifying. So here the more reduction in the water depth and increase in the width of the bottom soil and death and decomposition of rooted plants and nutrients. So rooted floating plants start to appear here. So example for this rooted floating stage, that is Nilambo, Nymphia, and Trapha. So here the free floating plants. So along with this, here free floating plants also develop like Azulla, Lemna, Wolfia, Pistia, etc. So rooted third stage is the rooted floating stage. Next, it is followed by next reed swamp stage. So here, as the death and decay of these rooted floating plants, due to which here the formation of soil will, as these communities are changing, so here the formation of soil also increases and depth of the water, here this will be decreases, depth will be decreases, and formation of soil will increases. So next, so after few days, what happened? These rooted floating stage is replaced by reed swamp stage. So here it is also known as the amphibious stage, because here the water level is very much reduced and soil and silt level is increases here. So soil become more fertile by death and decay of these plants, and most of the plants will be rooted, but their shoots are exposed to air. So have a well developed rhizome. So and forms very dense vegetation. So examples for this reed swamp stage is Typha and Sagittaria. Next. So next stage is sedge meadow stage. So here in sedge meadow stage, so as the water level is further decreases and soil level is further increases, and plants of Cyperaceae, Poaceae members are predominant, and they form a mat-like vegetation over the top of the soil. So here rhizome also well developed and interconnected. So and have the high rate of transpiration and water level further reduced, and soil is exposed to air, and nutrients like ammonia and sulfides becomes oxidized to nitrates and sulfates. So terrestrial soil formation will be proceeds. So it is sedge meadow stage. So reeds in reed swamp stage, it is amphibious. So as here, as the death and decay of these plants will take place in this. So as this here the soil formation will be more and water level will be decreases. So here sedge meadow stage. Here in sedge meadow stage, the predominant plants are mainly Cyperaceae members and Poaceae members. So as these after few days or few months, so death and decay of these plants will take place, and due to which here the water level will be decreases and soil becomes drier most of the time. So soil water level will be decreases. So and marshy vegetation replaced by the terrestrial plant in woodland stage. So here the shrubs and herbs are predominant. So as a change in this water level, as a change in the water will increases. So this is not suitable for this sedge meadow stage. So next it is replaced by another community, that is it is occupied by shrubs and herbs. It is called as a woodland stage. So here along with this shrubs and herbs, small trees also formation of development of these small trees also occurs. So huge accumulation of the humus occurs and variety of decomposers in the soil, and as the decomposers are present, so fertility of the soil also increasing here. And examples for this woodland stage is Salix, Eupatorium and Alnus. So next woodland stage, next it is replaced by the final stage, that is the forest stage. So generally forest stage it is called as a climax community, and here the woodland community it is invaded by the tree farms, and tree farms are here in forest stage generally more number of trees are predominant and canopy cover the entire area. So here the light penetration to the lower canopy is reducing as these trees canopy is occupied. Here what happens, due to which here the penetration of light will decreases on the soil. So here herbs and shrubs also reduced as the light penetration is less on this soil here and lower area. So here due to which it is herbs and shrubs also reduced, and wooded climbers also predominant. So and here the climate determines the type of the forest. Based on this, it may be evergreen or deciduous, etc. And example for this forest stage is Shorea forest trees, Shorea, Quercus, etc. They will be predominant in this forest stage. So these are the different stages. So here in this, so these are the main stages, 7 stages. Hydrozere, the main stages in hydrozere are phytoplankton stage, rooted submerged stage, next it is replaced by rooted floating stage, and next it is replaced by reed swamp stage, next sedge meadow stage, and woodland stage, and forest stage. So here the same area which is occupied by the different communities, and at last final forest or climax community or forest community is formed. So if the succession which starts on a water body, it is called as a hydrozere hydrarch succession. So this is about the hydrarch. So first stage is the phytoplankton stage. It is also known as a pioneer community. And here the blue-green algae, and diatoms and bacteria are the predominants. In second stage, that is in the rooted submerged stage, Hydrilla, Vallisneria and Utricularia are predominant. In third stage, that is rooted floating stage, mainly Nilumbio, Nymphia and Trapa are predominant. Along with this, that is Azulla limna, that is free floating plants also predominant. Next, in reed swamp stage, it is called as the amphibious stage. And here mainly Typha, Sagittaria are predominant. In sedge meadow stage, mainly Cyperaceae and Poaceae members are predominant. Whereas in woodland stage, here in shrubs, along with here herbs and shrubs, along with this Salix, Eupatorium, small sized trees also predominant in woodland stage. Next, last stage is that is climax stage is the forest stage. So this is about the hydrarch. So next one is xerarch. Okay, so if the succession which starts on the rocks, it is called as our dry areas, so it is called as the xerarch succession or xero-xer succession or xerarch. So some of the important stages of this xerarch succession are, so if it maybe starts on the rocks, lithoxer, lithoxer means rocks. It is also known as xerarch or lithoxer succession, which starts on the dry areas, here mainly on the rocks. So there are main important stages in this xerarch are, first one is the crustoge lichens stage. Next, it is followed by foliose lichens stage. Next, third one is the mass stage, and fourth one is herbs stage. Fifth one is shrub stage, and sixth one is xerophytic trees stage, and final one is the forest stage, that is climax community is the forest. So here also 7 stages, but in xerarch it starts with the crustose lichens. Generally lichens they grow on the rocks, so they grow on these rocks, and they are called as the crustose lichens are called as the pioneer stage in xerarch succession. So like hydroxer, a xeroxer also completes in a series of several orderly steps. So each serial stage is being characterized by peculiar type of plant communities and also the reactions. So here also some reactions will take place, and due to which that is bare rock area is last it forms the climax community, that is the forest, and the bare rock area to how the formation of this bare area that is on the rocks, large size rocks, to here final forest stage is formed. So xeric succession commonly occurs on the bare rock surfaces resulting from the glaciation or from the erosion by wind and water. So due to high high temperatures or high winds, so this will occur. So the rocky habitat which shows many extreme xeric conditions. So as the rock is directly exposed, so generally rocks they are generally exposed to sun, and the temperature of the rock surface also goes very high. So there is no water. Generally on the rocks there is no water, and nutrient holding devices on the exposed smooth surface, there is no devices to hold the water, nutrients or water. So in such a xeric habitat, so dry habitats, only those plants can survive, so which can resist the extreme drought. So generally on the rocks there is no water content and there is no nutrient holding capacities there, but in that, so some plants can grow on these rocks, so generally they are the lichens. So the various stages of succession are describable. So first one is the in xerarch succession, so first one is the crustose lichen stage. So the pioneer colonizers on this bare area are the crustose lichens, so which occur on the rock surface in the form of a membranous crust. So they are attached with these rocks. These lichens are attached with rocks and they cannot be separable. So important crustose lichens are Rhizocarpus, Lesidia, and these plants mainly grow only when the water becomes available in the habitat. So generally they are present on the attached with these rocks, but when during rainy season, so they grow or germinate. So in dry periods, the pioneers, so they appear to be desiccated, so remain alive. So their spongy nature, which enables them absorb excess amount of water and minerals. So these lichens migrate through their spores and soredia, and their migration is facilitated by wind and water. So first on the bare areas, so by the migration of the spores and soredia by the wind or through the water, so they reach the rocks and they grow on these rocks. So the lichens which secrete the carbonic acid in excess, and that acid is formed when the excess CO2 is liberated in respiration, which combines with the water. So here due to this the carbonic acid, so here the reaction which so here CO2 will react with water in the present to give the carbonic acid. So these carbonic acid will helps in the dissociation. This carbonic acid will react with this rocky material and loosen the rock particles. That is, they mainly helps in breakdown of these large sized rock particles into small sized particles. So these carbonic acid which are secreted by the lichens. So the corroded rock particles, they together with the decaying lichens and make the first thin layer of the soil on the rock surface. So the nitrogenous compounds which are formed from the atmospheric gases during the lighting also brought to the soil by rains, and now this habitat becomes less fit for the existing plants, and consequently primary colonizers begin to disappear from there. So first time so here the bare rock area is there. So due to this due to migration, due to wind, so these spores or soredia will reach this rock surface. So during the rain, when the water is available, so they will germinate and they start growing. So due to this, they start growing on these rocks, and due to some reactions, due to the secretions of these lichens, that is carbonic acid, so they secrete this carbonic acid. So these carbonic acid will react with these rocky materials, and they mainly helps in breakdown of the rock materials. So as these will continue, so here the dry habitat will be changing here. So now this habitat becomes less fit for the first crustose lichens. So generally these crustose lichens, they grow on the dry habitats, but here due to these the reactions which are taken place by these lichens only, so now it is not suitable for this crustose lichens, and now it is replaced by foliose lichens. So next stage in xeroarc is the foliose lichens stage. So after accumulation of little soil and humus, so the rock surface that is previously occupied by the crustose lichens, so now becomes it covered with the xeric foliose and fruticose lichens. So examples for this is dermatocarpon, palmelia, umbilicaria, etc. So here next stage. So first stage, that is crustose lichens. They first they are the pioneer community and the xeroarc succession. So it is replaced by next stage, that is the foliose lichens. So these lichens have delicate leaf-like thallus, and which covers the rocks and overshadow the pre-existing crustose lichens. So when the supply of when the supply of the light is cut off, the crustose lichens, they begin to die, and foliose lichens absorbs and accumulate the water and minerals and check evaporation of the surface water. So after few days, so here also some reactions will take place, and they also secrete carbonic acid, so which further pulverized and loosen the rocks into small particles. And next, the water retaining capacity of this habitat increases with the further accumulation of the soil particles and humus. So gradually this condition becomes less favorable for the existing foliose and fruticose lichens. So as a soil formation will increases, so now this habitat is now not suitable for these lichens. So next, this stage is replaced by moss stage. So when the habitat is changed, the existing foliose lichens will start disappearing, and in that area, xerophytic mosses will grow and become dominant. So these plants usually grow in the crevices and depressions of the rocks. So where enough rock particles, humus and moisture are accumulated. So like lichens, these mosses also adapted to survive in extreme drought conditions. So next it is replaced by here the mass stage. So first bare area which is occupied by, that is bare rock area, that is dry habitats, and this first crustose lichens, they start germination and grow increase in their number, and after few days the death and decay of these organisms will take place, due to which here the formation of soil will take place. Next it is replaced by second stage, that is foliose lichens. After few days, so here the due to reaction with this carbonic acid, so here the large sized rock particles are broke down into small particles, and here this is also as a soil formation will increases. So now it is not suitable for this, and again it is replaced by another community, that is the moss stage. So here it is now this moss stages. So after few days, these mosses also replaced by next stage, that is here xerophytic mosses. They develop the rhizoids and which penetrate deep into the rocky soil. So they cover the previous lichens and successfully compete with them for water and mineral nutrients. So the decaying older parts of these mosses form a thick mat over the rock surface. So this mat becomes more thick and it increases the water holding capacity of the soil. So thus this habitat becomes relatively more wet as the water holding capacity is increases and soil formation increases. So now this habitat which is not suitable for these xerophytic mosses. So now the next cereal community, that is replaced by herb stage. So when the soil increases in thickness, so the herbaceous vegetation, so which consists of mainly annuals and perennial herbs, will develop very quickly and increases moisture content of the soil, which favors the growth of the herbs. So the roots of these plants penetrate down and almost to the level of the unpulverized rock. So where they secrete the acids and accelerate the process of rock disintegration. So as the water holding capacity of these area is increases, so now it is suitable for these herbs. So in this way, the thickness of the soil and the rock surface increases to a considerable extent, and the decaying leaves, stems, roots, and other parts of the plants, which becomes deposited on the soil surface in the form of a humus. So as this death and decay of these plants will take place, so it also increases the humus as the soil formation will increases. So this further increases the water holding capacity of the soil. So these reactions which make the habitat now more suitable for the woody plants than the existing herbs. So next, this herb stage, which is again replaced by the shrub stage. So with the change of the habitat, that is herbaceous vegetation also shows sign of degeneration, and xerophytic shrubs gradually occupy the area. So roots of these shrubs also reach the surface of the unpulverized rock and corrode the sufficient quantity of rock particles. Along with this, when they are growing, so they also helps in the increase the this pulverization of the rocks, that is breakdown of these rocks into soil, so which makes the soil more mossy. So decaying leaves, twigs and roots of these shrubs also
trees ఉంటాయా?
soil. These important reactions which bring about such conditions in the habitat. So it is most suitable to the trees rather than the shrubs and herbs. Now this shrub stage is again replaced by other xerophytic trees. So now the xerophytic trees invade the area, so which has been occupied by previous by the shrubs. So the first trees growing in such areas Generally, they are far and widely spaced. So with increase in these water holding capacity in soil, so these gradually disappear and subsequently the mesophytic type also will be developed. So next this one, xerophytic trees stage is replaced by final stage, that is the forest stage. So the mesophytic trees, they are deeply rooted and their roots also profusely branched, hence they can absorb the sufficient amount of water and nutrients. So these mesophytic trees grow densely and become dominant. So because of these, seedlings are shade tolerant. So in the shade of mesophytic trees, some shade loving herbs also dominant, and they are well adapted to the humid atmosphere, and in the soil they also appear and they form their own community. So this is the final stage in the zero-arc succession, and it can be they cannot be disturbed by any other communities unless and until these natural hazards other than. So this is the final stage, it is not replaced by any other community. So after a very long interval, so when the complete harmony will develops between the plant communities and their environment also, the climax stage established and which remain unchanged unless some major environmental changes which disturb it. So for the formation of this climax community, it takes many years, 100 to many years, so to form a climax community. So this is about the ecological succession of hydrarch and xerarch. So the main stages in xerarch are, first one is crustose lichen stage, second one is foliose lichen stage, third one is moss stage, fourth herbs stage, fifth one is shrub stage, sixth one is xerophytic trees stage, and last one is the forest stage. So they will ask what is the pioneer stage in xerarch succession, or otherwise frame the order of these stages. Crustose, first stage crustose, foliose, moss, herb, shrub, xerophytic trees, and final one is the forest. So this is about the ecological successions of hydrarch and xerarch. In last year also one question is there. 1 minute. The second serial stage in hydroxyr is phytoplankton, submerged stage, floating stage, or reed swamp stage. Second stage in hydroxyr is second stage in hydroxyr, phytoplankton, submerged stage, floating stage, or reed swamp stage. Second stage is rooted submerged. So here answer is submerged stage. Last year question, this one. The second serial stage in hydroxyr is like this. They will ask questions.
Okay, my dear friends, any doubts? So madam has clearly explained about the succession, hydroxyr and xeroxyr. Clearly explained the what are the stages of the succession in the hydrarch, what are the stages in xerarch condition or in the lithosphere. Clearly explained. In this, my dear friends, hydrophytes is also most important. At the same time, the lichens also most important because of these are the pioneer plants of the succession in the lithosphere or xerarch condition. So lichens is also one of the most important. It is also useful in, it is also related to fungi. So lichens are the symbiotic organism best examples, and which are the pioneer plants of the lithosphere, crustose lichens, foliose lichens, okay, moss stage. These are all the stages which we are observed in lithosphere. So madam has clearly explained about the succession. Regarding of this class, if you have any doubt, please ask. Otherwise, our class is going to wind up. Okay, madam?
Okay, sir.
Okay, PPT also will share, my dear Prakash. Don't worry. Okay. Thank you, madam. You are clearly explained.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Right, madam. Right. Thank you.